We are up above Park City, Utah. This is Empire Pass. Great view down there. You couldn't see it well on the way back. I'll show it to you on the way back, but just went over the high point in the road. We are traveling to do Gobblers Knob, which is up over 10,000 feet. You gain over 3,000 feet. I want to say like 3,300 or 3,400 maybe, and only like 3.7 miles. So pretty steep. The first mile and a half you gain like 1,500 feet. I'm hoping it's not going to storm because it's the afternoon, but we'll see. We have a rain jacket. So Park City, Utah, in the Wasatch Mountains, I believe. Well, here we are. We're at the Butler Fork Trail. Butler Fork Trailhead. I misspoke earlier. It's only a little over 3,100 feet, not 3,300 feet. But it does go up about 1,000 feet a mile for the first 1.3 miles or so. So should be steep to start. Then the next mile and a half, it's a little tamer, maybe like 500 feet a mile, and then it's steep at the end again, back to that 1,000 feet a mile. So it's supposed to be buggy and overgrown. I didn't wear pants. That's probably a mistake, but oh well, what can you do? Oh, it's definitely steep, as I knew. We're probably up half a mile at least, maybe 6/10. That junction was down at 0.3 or 0.4. So we've come up this is the flattest part of the trail so far right here. We've come up 500 or 600 feet, I would say, from the trailhead. We've passed 3 trail runners coming down, and then an older guy just walking down. So we got to get up somewhere to a saddle, but we still have, I don't know, 800 or 900 feet up to that point, and then I'll have like a mile or mile and a half of easier grade, I think. So just working my way up. It's definitely humid here, super sweaty, so I'll check in higher up. All right, so we are 1.3 miles in. That is going to be to another summit, which I'll do on the way back, called Circle All Peak, which is not much higher than we are now, but I'm going to continue. Maybe it's something up that you can't see, to Gobblers Knob. So this is cool. Great views here, and more open terrain. I'm not sure which way it gets up, but it looks we'll probably gain that saddle there, is my guess. So there's the Gobbler. I will check in higher up. That rocky thing is Mount Raymond, about 50 feet or 100 feet lower than Gobbler's Knob. So that's cool. At least my peak's higher. All right, so we've hit a trail junction here, about 2.7 miles in, so still a mile to go to the summit. We have to branch right here, and then in another like quarter mile, there's going to be another junction that we branch right on. So I'm thinking that's about the end of the cruiser trail, and we are going to be gaining quite steadily already. Just in those first couple steps, it was more than in the last 1.4 miles. So we are heading up. Still can't see our summit, so I'm not exactly sure where it is. Or is it that? It doesn't look nearly. No, they said there were false summits. It's got to be. It's on this ridge, but it's higher, so we can't see it. But I read there were several false summits, so if that's not nearly high enough, that might be about half of the gain we probably have. All right, we've hit the saddle on the ridge. Feels nice up here. There's a little breeze. Came from the road all the way down there. Can't really see too well with the trees, but that's definitely a false summit, just to reiterate. And we have much higher. That's only 300 feet above us maybe, and we probably have 700 feet to gain, maybe 800 feet. I haven't looked at the map, but much more than that, in other words. So we're just, I'm not sure if we're on the ridge proper or we sort of skirt it, but it looks like we got to go through trees and woods to get up there. So definitely in the last mile now, but still quite a bit to gain. It's pretty out here, very calm. We've almost hit what I think we saw down below as a false summit. We still have almost 500 feet to gain, so definitely going up steeply. That's okay. Whew. Have about half a mile and 500 feet left. More false summits ahead. We have quite a bit to go over on the ridge. Haven't seen anyone else up. I guess everyone got an earlier start. Oh wow, starting to see down to the Salt Lake Valley there, which is massive. So there's our other peak. I already forget the name of it. Reynolds maybe. So I suppose I could bag that too. Whew. Cool dead tree. More cool dead trees here for pictures. We probably only have 100 or 200 feet left. Summit's gotta be. We've already crested a bunch of little humps. I'm gonna say maybe 200 more feet. Weather's holding off. Time should be pretty good. We're at an hour 25 right now, so like an hour 30 for like a 3,100 foot gain. Not bad. So I'll check in up on the Gobblers Knob summit here, which we're getting closer. Ooh, I think it's further. I was fooled again. Let me just make sure here. Yeah, it's over there. Oopsies, another false summit. Number, I don't know, 4. But it looks pretty flat over. That should be it up there. Now we're just on this nice ridge. Pretty flat walk over, and then a little, I don't know, 50 or 70 foot gain, I reckon. Look at this basin, so cool. There's the road. All right, I'll check in, not until the summit. All right, is this it? Yes. With a mailbox. The Gobblers Knob. It's a great little hike. Not too steep, not too long, not too hot, not too cold. See, if I knew these mountains, I could point them all out to you, but I don't at all. This is the first time, well, unless you count one time I hiked in Park City before a wedding, which wasn't, we were just randomly hiking. We weren't summiting stuff. First time in the Wasatch. I'm not 100% sure this is the Wasatch. So if it's the Uinta, my apologies. Right, like there. I think I'm pointing in the right place. Yeah, it's really hard to see. That's a little bald hill that's only, 200 feet up off the trail. So awesome peaks everywhere. I'm thinking, actually, I don't know, I'm not even gonna guess. I was gonna guess which way was which and where King's Peak was, but I doubt you can see it. So awesome. The best views back here, I think. A little rockier this way. So I'll check in on that other summit and maybe show you some footage jogging down. So we're about down to the saddle here. I think I'm gonna go for this peak too. It's steeper, it's a little less elevation gain, but in like it looks like 25% less distance. So there is a use trail that goes straight up this spine. It is incredibly steep up to this little green shoulder, and then it looks easier. But this first, whatever, 200 or 300 feet, I think is going to be incredibly challenging. So we're going to go for this because we have time. So yeah, I will check in when I'm up there. I think I called it Reynolds earlier. It's Raymond, Mount Raymond, which you see up there. So I don't even know if you can get up to it. I mean, I'm assuming you can. When you're on a ridge, you can always get up to it. So our way down is here, or I think there's another trail up here. But anyway, we're basically at the low point between peaks now, and gonna have a nice steep, I don't know, 900 foot ascent maybe up this thing, 800 at least, probably closer to 900. So this should be fun. All right, we've gained what I'm calling the top of the grassy shoulder, and now it's a little flatter. There's our summit. We might be close to halfway up from the low point. That was probably a good 400 foot push almost. So not as bad as I thought. I mean, it was steep, maybe 1,1300 feet. Actually, maybe a little more, maybe 1,400 feet a mile. But not unbearable by any means, and it wasn't sandy. Ah, that rock moves. So we got to close some horizontal distance. Then it looks like it's going to get a little rockier on this ridge and maybe some up and downs, but it should be easy enough. At the very end looks like maybe a little scrambly, so I'll check in higher up there. to Gobblers Knob. So we have to drop, unless we want to shortcut it through the woods. I don't think that's a good idea though. I think we should just go back to the trail. So, very similar views from the top of Raymond, slightly closer to the Salt Lake Valley, I suppose. I mean, you could get down one of these canyons, just follow it all the way down to the valley pretty easily, I think. So, awesome. There's downtown Salt Lake right there. Nice. Alright, well, I gotta push it down. This was an extra 30 to 40 minutes. Probably 40 minutes I did not have budgeted, so hightail it. Once I get down to that saddle, it'll be quick. Down to the next saddle. And then I'll hit that baby little thing. I don't know if it's even worth it, but I will, because it won't take much time. So, signing off from the top of Mount Raymond. Got a little off course and too far over there, but I'm back on this butter knife edge, if you will. Very wide and dull. So this is what I came up on the original ascent up. This is when it first sort of, started to turn rocky. So we are headed back down. Soon enough we'll be off rock, and then we'll go flat across to that. You gotta be careful you don't roll an ankle just walking down. All right, off the butter knife, and I actually think we want to stay high. Yeah, we'll start dropping if we go too far left or well. I think we've hit Circle All Peak. It's not really a peak, it's just this tiny little bald spot. Whew. So, I don't think you can see, unless it's that far right one, Gobblers Knob. I think it might be further, and then this tree's in the way of our Raymond summits up there. These trees are going to be in the way. So this was just a little 150 feet up off the trail. I figured I'd take the 5 minutes and see it. So Circle All Peak. That's it for today. And we're back. It was under 4 hours, barely. It's probably a little over 9 miles with 41 or 4,200 foot of elevation gain. So not bad on the gain. We beat the elevation gain in hours, but I wasn't moving that fast. So gonna head back to the resort now. See you on the next hike.